Okay. Hello, everybody. I'm TheTerrificTracy, and this is Hebereke. This is gonna be a really, really great adventure. This game is very ridiculous, so I'm gonna try to explain as much of the story as I possibly can, or at least what there is to it. And then on top of that, I'm gonna be doing 100%, so we'll get to explore everything. So, on 3, I'll get ready to go. 1, 2. Okay. So, essentially, this penguin here, Hebe, wakes up in this strange world after falling down a pit, and he's like, where am I, and how am I supposed to get out of here? I gotta find my way home. So we're gonna go off and try to see if we can find anybody to help us. Something to note about the title, Hebereke, is that it translates to something like drunkenness or falling down drunk. And it is apparently stated that Hebe seemed as though he may or may not be intoxicated, so he's a goofy penguin. We'll see more about him. But anyways, here we are with O-chan, and Hebe asks her if she can possibly help him find a way out, and she says, I don't know. I might not spill the answer unless you beat me in this game here. So we're gonna do just that. And that was an okay-ish fight. Fights like this are determined by a, global timer, so it's sort of like luck, but the first fight, sometimes it can be consistent if you get there at the same speed, but even then you can get like a randomish pattern, but with a lot of practice, you can react to them a lot better, so none of these fights are really unwinnable, but if they ever grab the Pophoon, which is the little ball that you throw, it can get really annoying. Anyways though, O-chan goes and tells us that she does not know the way out herself, but she has 2 friends who possibly know, so now we're gonna go find them. And, oops, did that the wrong way. Each character in this game has their own, they have their own abilities, as well as things they do in the overworld, like, I'm trying to think of how to explain it. Hebe moves the fastest on the ground, unlike everybody else. They're like all the same speed, terribly slow. O-chan can walk on ice and swim in the water. Oh my god. Okay, I goofed. I goofed hard, but it's fine. Not gonna be a terrible time loss. Okay. So, anyways, Hebe moves the fastest, he can climb when you get that ability unlocked, and, just for some reason, don't know why, he slips. Like, he's a penguin, right? Why does he slip on ice, and why can't he swim? But whatever. Not gonna ask questions about that. So down here, this is one of the items that I'll be getting. It's Hebe's special ability, the, what is it called? Head Bopper, I believe? It is not at all needed. You skip so much content in this game at any percent. And it sort of has a use, normally, in any percent. So we may or may not use it later on. Well, actually, it has its own use here, but anyway. Getting back to things, we're getting this power, and then we're gonna do a sequence break right after this, where the order of friends we're supposed to go to would be to the ghost, who, if you played the PAL version, a lot of the characters had their names changed, and also Hebe and O-chan had their sprites changed altogether. But, the ghost's name is Sukezamon in Japanese, and Shades in the PAL version, so a lot of people just call him Shades, but I'm playing this version, so I'm just gonna call him Sukezamon or whatever. I'm just a nerd like that. Right there, we picked up, I'm trying to remember, I think that's the password viewer. Right here, okay cool, that went well. This game has an interesting exploit where, since Hebe moves the fastest, if you swap from Hebe to somebody else while holding down, his speed converts over to them, so it makes O-Chan go a lot faster on the ice. And then this here is the sequence break. I gotta wait for this clown, that's annoying. So if I crouch and jump on like the same frame and then touch that platform on the side at like a certain height, I get like 3 to 4 frames to do a wall jump, which is definitely not intended, and otherwise you were supposed to get Tsukazemon to come this way. But going to get Tsukazemon takes a lot of time in his area, so I'm just gonna do that jump twice and go this way. What I'm doing instead is I'm going to go get the wall climbing ability, and then I'm going to go get the 4th partner instead of a Tsukazemon. And just do a lot of things, to the point where he's almost last in the list of things that we do. Okay, cool. Climbing with Hebe is not easy. I'm not sure if I've made it apparent yet, or I might if I end up slipping up. When Hebe lands on the ground, he slides like crazy, like for whatever reason. He's just the weirdest penguin around. He slides like crazy unless you let the D-pad go completely neutral when you touch the ground, which is hard to do if you want to keep doing quick jumps, but that climb was pretty alright, so that's okay. And here, swapping momentum back to the water. So, anyway, since we're doing things out of order, we were supposed to go to Tsukazemon, and he would tell us that to find the exit to this world, you must find a gate that leads to the outside. And then when you get to Jennifer later on, he would tell you that to open that gate, you need to get 3 keys that are protected by guardians. So, aside from that, there's not too much story in the game. But if you use like a translation for this game, you'll see that the characters all have really unique ways in which they speak. Like Tsukazemon, for whatever reason, seems to be like a medieval type dude. Like he says, when you fight him, he's like, "You need to best me in combat if you want me to join you," and stuff like that. And apparently his name is like really old from that time as well. And then O-Chan talks like as if she's royalty, but I'm pretty sure she's not. I don't know why. And then Jennifer just yells a lot, apparently, because like everything he said was in caps, and he just talks funny. So we have a pretty weird cast of characters. And this enemy here, I don't know anything about what these dudes are supposed to be called. I looked up all of the big-headed enemies, and I couldn't find anything on them. But I personally just like to call this dude the Flying Blueberry, because that's what one of my friends said when they saw him, and I was like, you know, that's perfect. So, here's the climbing item. It's a suction cup. We're gonna go up the wall. We're gonna grab this here. This is the item that lets you see where things are on the map. It is not the most detailed map in the world, but it is somewhat helpful casually. In any percent, I would have died after that boss to Death Warp back to the starting area, because you always return there, and it's a lot faster to just do that instead of backtracking, but it's still going to be used. It's just a little bit less in some places, like here, where instead I'm going this way. Back into the cave. I'm heading to where the gate is that you'd see at the end of the game. There is a potion there on the right side of it that you never reach normally. And there are 4 potions in the game, and unlike every other item, the potions actually always respawn should you die. But for the sake of the run, I only have to pick up all 4 of them once. There's a different type of potion that does appear though, one that completely restores all health instead of like 100 hit points like the normal one does. That one is really hard to reach casually, and it does not respawn if you ever use it and die. Oh, yeah. I'm taking damage here on purpose, since in most of the boss fights you would get hurt, to be prepared to death abuse afterwards. That message said something like, "This boulder looks funny," and honestly I think this section was a little troubling for me the first time I played this. Like, I didn't get how to move this thing, which I just realized I never explained. When I'm jumping on anything like that boulder or any enemies, I have to hold down to do so. That's like the one criticism most people have when they try this. They're like, why am I holding down to hurt enemies? Like, no other platformer does that. And while it takes a little bit to get used to, it has its benefits, honestly. But yeah. So, we get to Jennifer here, ask him for help. He says he doesn't feel like it. Okay, that was good. At the end of all the partner fights, I jump as soon as I can before the last hit, because if I'm on the ground when the last hit makes contact, I get locked right there in place, and I want to get as close to the door as possible. And he's like, alright, I like the way you play, kid. He's like, I'll join you. And so now we're off. And Jennifer can walk underwater. It looks really goofy. And he can also spit bombs when you unlock those. I like doing this because it looks goofy. I don't know, like, the momentum in this game is so weird like that. I have no clue why it works, but it does. This boss here guards one of the keys. This one is kind of menacing. This is probably the most daunting one for me, so hopefully I can get it right. Okay, that's good. The first phase is way scarier than the second phase because it lagged a lot. Second phase is always consistent, depending on like where they fell down at. But even then, you can get used to where it is if you have to improvise. So I'm doing this jump pattern of full jump, short jump, full jump. Okay, I thought I messed up for a second. I got freaked out. I forgot what count I was on. Okay, it's full jump, full jump, and that ensures that at the least I'll hit them on like the earliest frame possible. But if that seems a little too scary, then you can like delay your jumps a little bit. So here's the red key, one of the three. Now that boss is honestly down, I don't feel as worried about too many other things. Like, there's still a lot to worry about, but not too much. So there, I charged up Hebereke's ability, the head bopper, and then I used a glitch where if you swap characters in the middle of charging, it ends up charging another character's ability even if you don't have it, and that's used in any percent. But I'm gonna get every character's ability anyway, so it's not gonna be the most important thing aside from there. But yeah, now that we got Jennifer going into the water here, I picked up a heart container, and I'm about to pick up another one over here. And now I'm gonna go and actually pick up Jennifer's bombs. in any percent, the only power we pick up are the bombs, and that happens to be due to the fact that if I were to have somebody else's ability and I swap between them, Jennifer has a bunch of blocks that need to be broken in the overworld to pass. If you swap characters after breaking blocks, they just respawn immediately, so you're not able to abuse that as somebody else, so you have to go all the way to where the bombs are to get them every time. Here's a little weird trick where I somehow just cram myself in there and crawl through it. And here's this weird bird dude who appears twice. If you talk to this dude, he's like, you need to find my egg, so that's what I did the very first time I met him. Now, ironically, it's a trick. If you go with him the very first time, you give him the egg here, you cannot progress because you need to be able to climb, you'll get stuck. And that is a really devious trick that they did. You have to go to the other place where he is first. Like, I came over here and I got so confused casually, it was annoying. Because normally you'll be on the left side over there if you weren't able to climb, and Hebe will say, "That faucet looks interesting. How do I reach it?" Moving underwater with Jennifer is really, really strange, and honestly, I'm not the most positive I know how to do it all that well, but I'm trying my best. I gotta be careful here, because I need to get past this duck without getting hurt, so I can do a proper damage boosting strat on the boss. Oh my god. Okay, that's fun. Alright, well, I guess I'm not, and that's fine, I guess. I will go ahead and get hurt here. It is really difficult to get past that duck, but I can still beat the boss just fine. It only loses a little bit of time. These cats underwater are weird because I'm not sure if they're supposed to be like Ochan, where they're just people in cat suits, or not, but a lot of the enemies in this game are weird, and not all of them have names. One of the only characters that's an enemy in a suit that has a name is this penguin in the whole area we'll go to in this category. But I didn't mention that item I picked up a moment ago was the ring. Those rings show where the keys are. Not that they're that important otherwise. This is part of why it's a really good thing that I can choose to hold down to hurt the boss. Because if I always hit it on the head, I would never be able to use this exploit to defeat it early. Because otherwise, casually, you have to hit it on the head, then make a huge loop and a circle to go under it to grab that and throw it at him. Okay. And now that I've gotten that, I'm gonna game over and go back to the start and go to the cold area, which is honestly probably my favorite area in the game, and there's no reason to go there at all. So I like seeing it a lot. The boss fight for it was not that optimized. I tried to make it better. Let's see if I can pull it off. It's a little hard, but I'll try to play it careful so I don't die on the first mini boss like I did earlier. But yeah. Here are some of those blocks that only Jennifer can pull up. The bombs must fully disappear from the screen before I can use another. The music here is so good. The music in this whole game is good, of course. Sunsoft games are the best games on this system. Another heart container. Alright, this part is really tricky. I have no space to move. Okay, that's fine. If I... Ah, dang. I really wanted that. Okay, actually no, I did pick it up, cool. If I space those jumps just the right way, I'll crush those mice before I run into them. And I don't even understand how that works either, but it just does. Ideally, I want to not get hurt by them, and then go to the boss where I will intentionally get hurt on one of the turns. But I gotta play really careful. It is kind of hard to fight a boss on ice, so hopefully it's not a total disaster. Okay, that was an intentional hit. Oh my gosh, alright, that went perfect. I'm happy about that. That, like, my consistency on this fight is stupid, where, like, I'll either mess up one of the turns, or it just goes completely well. And I don't know what to expect ever, but that was good. So now we picked up Ochan's Ice Breath, which casually is probably one of the worst things to utilize, because there are sections where you need to freeze enemies and then use them as platforms, and it is so difficult to work with because the enemies keep bobbing up and down, and if they're not aligned the right way, then your jumps just won't make it. And on top of that, they unfreeze after a bit, so it's just so difficult to deal with. That's the only thing that is rough about this game casually. And luckily, in this run, we get to abuse mechanics and not have to worry about using that ever. I am very grateful for that. This is the area we would have come to way at the start to get Phasemon. But again, climbing and going through here normally, very slow, so we're cheating by going through the water path and then climbing up here. So, a lot better. Alright, that was cool. I completely missed that. So Phasemon is one of the worst partners to take the Papoon because he takes extra long to throw it. Okay, I'm so glad that worked out. I accidentally turned as soon as I tossed it and thought he was gonna grab it. But yeah. Phasemon loves to hold on to it forever. That was okay, I guess. He's like, okay, you brave warrior that has bested me. I will join you now. And this next entire section, or at least right here, is one of the scariest parts in this category. This lava. So this is a section that casually you'd have to freeze those enemies to get over them with Ochan, and it's... That probably gave me the most trouble, just for this ring. That's all that you get, just this ring. Like, okay, cool, thanks. Alright. Okay, good, I did not kill myself, great. Leaving that section the optimal way is absolutely ridiculous. I don't know how you, like, execute that consistently. You'd, you'd bounce on the two that you went across to get down there, but then you would turn and grab onto the ledge, and trying to do that turn to grab it is like one of the most difficult things I've ever attempted in this game, so I just go back to the mine part where I know I'm not gonna like kill myself. And so we picked up 2 rings in this area. Nearly have all the items. Next up, we're going to get... I'm trying to remember what it is actually. Is next the map? I picked up the compass also. That was the second thing I grabbed. The map should be up here. Yeah, okay. Next, after I get through this hallway here, there is a... Ah, dang it. I'm gonna try crushing these and getting some health from them if they drop it. That was annoying. Didn't jump through there. But, okay. There's another section after this hallway where you'd have to freeze enemies with Ochan. And again, I'm gonna skip that. It's for the Water of Life, I think it's called, which is the good health potion that refills all health. And thankfully we get to do that, where I already used it, but I forgot to explain it, where if you swap momentum to Sukezemon from Hebe, he just glides super far and it's great. And even though I said that the alien boss scares me a lot, this is probably the true scariest boss, and that's just because everything here is like the most luck dependent. There are gonna be spears falling down, and hey look, I got bad luck, so that's cool. That's okay, I can try dealing with this. These spears essentially fall down randomly, and it is very annoying. If one falls directly over you, it ruins your chance of getting an easy setup on a triple hit. I'm gonna just not die. This fight gets really, really risky at like top level, like optimal. Like you come in here with less health already, and if that boss touches you and you don't have 10 health, you die. It does exactly 10. Fortunately, the second phase does nothing at all. I don't know why. There were apparently plans for that second phase to be entirely different, but I guess they figured the first phase was too hard, so they just made it easy. Sad cat. Okay. If that fight went well, I would have taken damage enough to die here in one hit, but it's not the worst. I picked up nearly everything so far, and I have one more area to go to. So I'm gonna round up the rest on this life. The last potion is down here. Actually, no, wait, that's not true. Oops, I forgot there's an entirely different potion in the area, but second to last. This area is kind of funny, because there are a ton of blocks to blow up, and there's gonna be another skip. There's gonna be another movement skip with Sukezemon, where casually you're supposed to blow up like 1,000,000 blocks and then turn on a switch that gives light to this area, and in doing so, it reveals platforms that don't even exist in the dark. We're just gonna make this jump. Yeah, this game is quite weird. But it's great. Gonna grab the last heart container. We're gonna make this jump, and we're gonna grab another potion. The actual final potion. Okay. And now I gotta do a sort of difficult jump around this corner. Oh my gosh, get up there. Get up there! Here we go. Just don't want to fall down. If you fall down, you have to go all the way back up to the top and destroy all the blocks again. So, we don't want any of that. This might be the funniest boss in the game. Like, I don't even know how to describe this one. Like, it's a cat in a pipe, and then this smiley face, I guess, going in a circle. Fighting the cat with the cat. And now I get to take the last key. So we'll be on our way to that gate. Now, if you want to save like all the time, it's best to not use a potion before the final boss, and then just try to one-cycle it. But it is pretty scary to do, especially with how this boss is. So for the sake of this, I am gonna use a potion, because this is the only boss in the game that does 15 damage, which is way more than your starting health, so you will just die instantly. But I'm gonna try my best. One-cycling this boss is difficult, not just because, like, you know, that sounds hard, but also there's a lot of lag in this room, so sometimes my inputs get eaten, which is even worse. So, another thing, just verifying everything in the menu is here. Alright. Oh! That was my fault. Oh my gosh. Alright, well, that kind of fell apart. Nice. Okay, cool. We got through it, alright. Oh, there we go. Final boss down. I'll take a moment to explain the ending of the story here, if that's alright. So, Heavy's like, thanks everybody for helping me find the gate to get back to home. And they're like, it was fun, we'll miss you. He's like, we had a good time. All that. And I don't remember exactly everything. He's like, maybe I'll see you guys again sometime. And then gets into this rocket ship, I guess, and takes off. But then he ends up landing right back down where he was. And Hebe is like, wait, where am I? He's like, hold on. He's like, what's everybody doing here? He's like, guys, hold on. I think I was home the whole time? And then everybody's like, what? And then they do that dumb anime thing where they fall over. And that's the end. That's the whole story. Like, literally, it was a trip to get home. And you were already home, I guess. and it doesn't make any sense, and that's part of why it's like the best story ever in any platformer. So yeah, that's Hebereke. A really great Sunsoft game. And one of my favorite games on the system, period. It's absolutely fun. I think everybody should at least try playing it casually. Oh yeah, that is all for me, I suppose. I'm not sure how to transition this. But, thanks so much. I'm glad I got to be in this marathon. Everybody, please support No Kids Hungry. Very good cause. I'm probably gonna donate a bit myself soon. But yeah, and hopefully the rest of the event goes well. Thanks, everybody. We hit 8K. Nice. Hype. Got a bit more to go, don't we, though?